tuning your choice, tapping into the frequency of an empowered life. This podcast is all about making choices. Let's face it, life is all about choice we make. And what would you do when life gives you lemons? Here I will share inspirational story of everyday warriors who have overcome struggles, adversity, challenges, and learned how to be their life authors and live life to the fullest. By capturing their stories, then learning in their experiences, each story becomes like a piece of evidence, and they can give you the courage that you can too. Do you know it's only take 1 second to make the choice? The choice that can lead you out of the loop of struggle. The choice that allows you to claim your power and be the author of your own story. Throughout the podcast, you're gonna hear stories from everyday people who have made empowered choice that lead themselves to live a happy and fulfilled life. Their tales will inspire you, uplift you, and give you hope that there is always a different choice to make in any situation. But before that, let me tell you a little bit about me and why making an empowered choice is so important to me. Hi, I'm your host, Zaki-Leung. I'm a transformational speaker, a breakthrough mentor, and a subconscious healing specialist. Coming from a challenging background, where my parents disowned me when I was just 8 months old. Growing up, I faced bullying, abuse, and family violence. I experienced firsthand how trauma can impact our life, physically and mentally, and how it can leave deep scars in our subconscious mind. But I make a choice to liberate myself from the past, to get on my own healing journey at the age of 15 and reclaim the power of my own life. Now, 20 years later, I'm living my purpose, spreading the message of choice, helping others to transform, and reminding each one of us, you have a choice. No matter where you're tuning in from, join me and let's create a life that's full of possibility. Deborah Stathis is an enlightened and influential speaker, coach, and author. She is passionate about empowering others to create opportunities and build success, even when it seems impossible. Following a near-fatal car accident, having sustained devastating injuries, Deborah beat the medical odds and went on to achieve personal and professional success. Deborah is the founder of Tragic Opportunities Pty Ltd, the founder of Beyond Trauma, turned tragedy into opportunity, and a contributing author in 2 books of inspirational stories. She has spoken internationally and appeared on health and wellness TV program, podcast, and on radio. Her program have also featured on online wellness learning platform. An experienced professional education consultant with multiple qualifications in cognitive behavioral coaching practice, management, training and assessment, and accelerated learning, Deborah provides personal and professional development programs, workshops, and seminars designed for individuals, groups, teams, and business. Having triumphed against the odds and master creating opportunity from stress and trauma, Deborah shares her story and methods to empower others to create success and live their best life. Thank you, Deborah, for tuning in today.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello. So first of all, just tell us a little bit about you. Where are you tuning in from? Who are you? What you do? Where you are in life right now?
Okay. So where am I? I'm in Melbourne, Australia.
Yay.
And yes, yay. And it's boiling hot at the moment, isn't it? So I'm a speaker, empowerment coach, and an author. My book's behind me in the middle, and the contributing books are on either side. And I'm really, really passionate about helping others create success personally and professionally because of all the challenges that I've been through and because of my own personal story, defying the odds, like you said in your introduction of me as well. So at the moment, I'm focused on, I do a lot of work with women's groups, women in corporate leadership and business, helping them to get off the hamster wheel, to really recreate their life. I have a program called Authentic Reinvention. And what we do is we look at how can we choose to live the life that we really want? How can we choose to value ourselves? You know, what can we do to do this? And I help them to really channel that energy and, you know, get off that hamster wheel and actually grab their dreams again and make it happen. And of course, I run wellness programs as well in corporate organizations to really help the staff connect to themselves. And also, you know, let's face it, we've had COVID. We still have COVID. There's a lot of strain and stress at the moment on people individually and in the workplace. And of course, having had a lot of trauma in my life, I'm so passionate about helping people to rise above the problems that surround them and look at what options that they do have, so as they can be productive in their personal life and their professional life. And that, of course, then helps the businesses as well. So it's very, very rewarding, very rewarding. And I'm very, very grateful to also have spoken internationally at a number of conferences and events, really around changing the trajectory of your life. Tongue-tied, changing the trajectory of your life. You know, the power of choice is a key thing that I speak about. And also looking at harnessing your emotions, you know, the power that we actually have that we don't realize that we have. So yeah, that's me. That's what, you know, quick summary of what I do. And yeah, for me right now, it's all about creating the best 2022 possible. You know, I know we're all in a tough position in one way or another with the current status of the COVID cases, but there is a way.
Yeah, it is. Deborah is such an empowerment advocate. And I remember the first time I see you, like, we both know we actually met each other in a World Transformational Conference. So we both the speaker. And I have to tell you guys, the first time I listened to Deborah speak, so Deborah speak before me. And when I listen her speak, I have all the goosebumps and butterfly in my stomach, because we're very passionate to bringing and telling people that about choice in life. Yeah. And I'm like a secret admirer, and I'm just looking at her and feeling all her energy. Then after that, I write down her name and say, I have to connect with her. And of course, this year, today, this one is the first podcast. And I've been thinking, who should I invite to? And I've been thinking the first one is Deborah. It's like, I have to talk to her. I have to get her in, because I think our vision and mission is so aligned. And of course, now, Deborah, we see you as an author, speaker, facilitator, and doing so many things to empower women, business, individuals to first is remove the trauma, and also how they pivot in life, in professional and personal. But I know you have a very long journey to become who you are today, right? And so would you please share with us a little bit about your journey?
Absolutely. And I love the story of how we met, because I was doing the same thing. When you spoke, I wrote your name down, because we were both speaking. So many things that we said were so aligned, and it was just incredible. So I had to acknowledge that before I went on. So my story is confronting in a few ways. So let's put the trigger warning in there as well. I will be careful in the way I explain it, so as I don't scare anyone. I've experienced a lot of trauma in my life. There's been trauma in my early childhood and also as a sort of more mature adult. However, there was a very significant trauma, and that was the one that almost took my life. So January the 18th, 1999, so we're going back a while, I was involved in a very serious car accident. Short version is I hit an oil slick on a road, slippery, wet road, hit the gravel, ended up bananaed around a telegraph pole with the impact being on the driver's side door. No airbags in my 1985 car, Toyota Corolla. Now, the short version is this. The prognosis was brain damage, blind in the right eye, and physically, facially unrecognizable. Ooh, still hard to say that, to be perfectly honest. I'm very proud to say that at this point, I beat pretty much every single medical odd. I'm not blind either, by the way, which is pretty cool. Yes, I do have an acquired brain injury, traumatic brain injury. Yes, I do have multiple pins and plates in my face and all sorts of other things that have been put in here too, and I have had multiple surgeries. I have a little bit of paralysis in this eye, but that's not too bad. But how did I get from that to here? That's really the core thing. And this is where I discovered the power of, drum roll, choice.
Choice.
Hey, we knew, come on, we knew I was going to say it, right? So I'll share this story. And this is, you know, I was in the hospital and I'd had the initial facial reconstruction and I'd had the brain surgery as well, because I was damaged to the brain, the membrane around the brain. And the mirrors in the hospital had been covered because I'd caught sight of myself. I don't really remember this. I have a dreamlike memory of it due to the head injury and the medication. Didn't go down very well. It was very traumatic. So the mirrors were covered not to cause me any more trauma, because as you can imagine with severe facial injuries, you know, it was quite traumatic for me.
Yeah.
Now, when I was released into the rehabilitation centre, I was in a room by myself. So a lot of the medication I was on far less medication. I didn't have any IVs or anything, and I was by myself. And I spotted a mirror above a little sink, and so you know this story, but you know, I don't know how long it took me to walk over, but I remember sitting on the edge of that bed, and here's the first choice. I looked at that mirror and my heart sank because I thought, oh, how am I going to avoid that? And I thought, go and look, Deb. Face it, go and look. I don't know how long it took me to get there. And I'll never forget that little sink, because I think I sat, you know, with my head down, should I say, with my head down for God knows how long. But I looked up, and that was it was a life-changing experience. Not that the other experience hadn't been life-changing, but it was a life-changing experience that was in my control. So I couldn't control the accident, right? But I gained control right then and there. That first decision to look was the first choice that gave me my control back over my life. Because I looked at that mirror, and firstly, it was quite confronting, because what I'll say is that I didn't look like I looked when, you know, before the surgeries, when I spotted myself in the hospital, of course, but I didn't look like I used to, and I didn't look like I do now. There's been more work done, of course. So that was confronting. And of course I cried, and it was difficult. Now, what did I feel in that moment? Fear. This is where I learned about harnessing emotions. This is the beginning of my journey about understanding the power of harnessing emotion and how we can choose, again, to do that. I felt fear, and the first thing I felt and almost physically did was retreat in fear, which is what we normally do, right? We're scared, so we retreat.
Yeah.
But guess what happens when we retreat in fear? we get exactly the thing we don't want. We render ourselves powerless because we do nothing. Now, I looked around that little room when I felt fear and I thought, but I don't want this. I don't want to feel like that. And that little room that I was in, and I can still see it, I remember it. That little room I was in represented all the limitations, going off medical statistics and the doctors and surgeons with all their best intentions. Of course, she might not know who she is. She might not be able, she probably won't be able to learn. She might need support for the rest of her life. And I thought, what about all my relationship with my family? What about my friends? I don't want that. And I thought about, well, who am I? I went, well, I'm a vivacious, energetic, adventurous personality. Was, still am. And I thought, hang on. And here's the other thing there. This is the choice here. This is the choice about focus. And so much power in choice, your choice of focus. I don't want that. And then I got this energy came into me and I looked in that mirror and I think I said this out loud. I mean, I was by myself, so it's okay. And I said, all right, Deb, what do you want? What do you want? And I thought about all the things that I wanted, not the career I wanted, because that wasn't important anymore. How I wanted to be, live, and feel, which I have a process now that I teach people. How I wanted to be, live, and feel. How do I want to experience life? And I've learned since then that once we understand that, everything else becomes subject to prerequisites. And that's the foundation of creating the life that you desire authentically. What I wanted, the past, I had to leave there. I had to go, okay, I've been there. I can't live there. What if this didn't happen? It's done. Acceptance of where I am. And I went, okay, Deb, you're here now. What are you going to do? And I definitely said this one out loud. And you know what? Those words have changed the trajectory of my life. I say that to this day. When something happens and we all have moments we feel fear, we feel powerless. And you think, well, okay, I might not have been able to do what I wanted or thought I wanted to do, but what can I do now? How can I change things up? What are my other options? You're here now, acceptance. What are you going to do? Focus forward. What we focus on, we create more of. If I focus on being miserable and a victim, what was I going to be?
A victim.
Miserable and a victim. And I went, hope you don't mind, stuff that. Okay. Now I went, oh, hell no, no, that's not. And I thought, okay, what do I want? And you know what happened? That energy from the very next day, I started to push the boundaries just a little bit. Now, you don't go from 0 to 100. You don't climb Mount Everest in a day. There is work involved. So don't think this is some magical, that's all you've got to do. No, it doesn't work that way. No. But let me tell you, when you've got a fire in your belly about what you want, it's not as hard. You know what I mean? So it was that extra step in the physical and occupational therapy rehabilitation. It was that extra step. I was mostly pushed around in a wheelchair before that because my jaw was wide and I was super skinny and borderline anemic because of the breaking of my jaw and not being able to eat, etc. But it was like, no, let me walk a bit. I needed a bit of help. But then the next day, let me take one more step. If you don't take the first step, you're not going to take the second or the third or the fourth. I wowed them in the rehabilitation centre. I was released about a month early. Now, my accident was in January. I went back to work in November. And like I said, I broke pretty much every single medical odd. And that's because I didn't give up. I went home and I kept going. What else can I do? What else can I learn? What can I do to this is where authentic reinvention came from. What can I do to authentically reinvent myself? So that's my story.
Wow. Yes. And I heard you say, like, I think after the accidents, not only physically, but also mentally, spiritually, big impact and back to impact. And I heard you say, like, focus on how do I want to live?
Yes.
How do I want to feel?
Yes.
And take one extra step each day.
Yeah.
And it's really, really powerful. And of course, I can see you being make multiple choice from the first choice that face the mirror and have a look. And after the face the choice, choose the choice that you need to be empowered. You need to live your life. You have your own say. And this is powerful. And do you notice, of course, that you mentioned to us about the fear before you look into the mirror. And how do you feel after you decided, yeah, I have to beat it. I have to choose my way. I've got this.
Yeah. You know,
do you feel the shift?
Oh, it was incredible. Like I said, if there wasn't a shift, I wouldn't have been able to, it put me on the trajectory to defy the odds. Because again, everything became prerequisite. There was prerequisites. So every choice, there was prerequisite. It had to fit how I want to be, live, and feel. I don't want to be reliant on my family. I don't want to not experience, you know, all the, I mean, I was a very young woman. Okay. So my accident was a week to the day after my 19th birthday. Now, I'm a fair bit older than that now, you know. But the point is, though, I mean, in the years that have followed, I've had surgeries and complications that are linked to that accident, which is, I'm sure, and you're not surprised to hear that. It was very severe. But again, that same choice of, okay, you're here now. What am I going to do? What can I do here? Because if I bury my head in the sand, one day I'm going to pull my head out and I'm going to go, oh, what happened to my life? I didn't live because I didn't want to face it. You know what? It might seem like it's harder to take that first step because we think we've got to like somehow leap to the top of Mount Everest.
Yeah. But
it's not. Break it down into achievable chunks. It's actually far, far harder to stick your head in the sand, so to speak, or to retreat in fear. Because then we create a lifetime of staying living in fear, which is far worse than the discomfort of facing the fear and taking that first step. Because you know what? You build momentum, you build strength, you build courage, you build further resilience.
Yeah, it is. And so many people think, by thinking of it, they think that, oh my God, there is so far away. It seems they can't see it, like they can't even visual and picture it. And they think that they got no choice and they got no chance to do it.
Yeah.
But I really got what you're saying, like break it down one step at a time.
Yeah.
And set up yourself and take one step each day and each day. And of course that you just mentioned to us as well, even though after you make that choice, it wasn't mean that after you make that choice and this all beautiful and all easy and everything just aligned for you. And no, it's with setback and challenge, and you constantly overcome it. Yeah. And if you can share a little bit with us about, have you ever self-sabotage or doubt yourself?
Oh yeah, absolutely, of course.
And how you overcome that?
And I think that's a really, really good question, because I think that's something, I think we all do it, self-sabotage. And I think especially when we're faced with challenges, or we've experienced challenges, which, let's face it, pretty much every single person has in one way or another. And I think let's face it, with COVID, we're all kind of in that scenario now. And I think once we've got a goal for something, whether it's a professional, personal goal, sometimes we self-sabotage because really there's a underlying belief that's not resourceful. Again, we're going to talk about fear again now. There's, I'm not good enough. What if I can't do it? What if I fail? Then there's the fear of success. What if I do it? What does that mean for my identity? How does that, there's that unknown. So the self-sabotage is about understanding what we really believe about ourselves. And that's something that I speak about in my book, actually, around really understanding what the belief is about ourselves. Because, if you catch yourself procrastinating, if you catch yourself in avoidance behavior, which is self-sabotage, there's two things to think about. Do I really want this is one thing, but two, if you really want it, why am I telling myself I can't?
What's the hidden layer?
What's the hidden layer? Like, for example, well, I've got a brain injury. Maybe I can't do it. Or right now, I'm a mother of 2 young children, 7 and 4.
And they're cute.
They are very cute.
Yeah.
They're very cute. How am I going to manage my business and look after 2 children? How am I going to do that?
Yeah.
I'll find a way. I'll find a way. Now, I had a moment where I was self-sabotaging. I was, because I thought, I can't, especially with COVID. Especially, I'll tell you, I'll actually give you a real life example because I think this is relatable. My book, which is, here's one I prepared earlier. I don't have steak knives though. This is my book, Beyond Trauma. That's my face, by the way, with all the pins and plates and things in it, just to really scare everybody. I'll put it on the cover. Anyway, my book came out, I got it September 2019. And I had workshops booked. I had everything ready to launch. I was going to do a business launch, etc. Because prior to that, I'd actually had a lot of health issues with my pregnancies with my children, and other emergency surgeries. And we won't go there. It was very challenging. So that's the additional trauma, some of the additional trauma. But I was finally feeling healthy. Like, yes, this is going to be, 2020 is going to be my year. COVID hit. I'm homeschooling. And I've got a toddler at home. And that was really overwhelming. I can't do this. I can't. How am I going to do this? How? And for a while, I did procrastinate, avoid, tell myself I couldn't do it. And then something shifted because I thought, what does this mean to me? Who am I going to be if I keep telling myself I can't do it?
Yeah.
What example am I setting for my children? And then I went, hang on. I went back to, you're here now. What are you going to do? Accept where I am. Don't think about what I did have. What can I do now? So I changed my strategy and I did the best that I could. Was it the way it could have gone? No, but it was still great. And I mean, I wouldn't be here speaking to you. I wouldn't have met you, and we're so aligned if I hadn't have made that choice. What a brilliant outcome. So I managed to get international speaking work. I managed to present via Zoom, obviously, or Microsoft Teams, etc., to corporate groups. But if I'd gone, I can't do this, that wouldn't have happened. Was it as much work as I would have liked? Well, no, because it was COVID and I had a homeschooling, a preppy, and a toddler. No, of course not. But I did what I could. So that's the thing. Choice, again, there's always a way. There's always a way. But we have to look at our beliefs. What do we believe? So again, going back to that moment, that saying, because there's power in it.
Yeah, it is. And I'm pretty sure many people get affected in these 2 years when it started COVID and everything. Myself, of course, similar situation. I still remember end of 2019, I'm just trying to put more energy in my business while I still working for a corporate job. And I told my boss that, we have very good relationship, and I told him that, all right, I think it's enough that I help you build your empire. It's for me, it's my time to start help like build my own empire. Then
Yeah.
COVID hits, and my heart is already in thinking, how can I give more value to people? How can I help people? And to be really honest, my heart is not in the corporate job anymore. But then
Yeah.
COVID hit, and I decided I gonna leave. I gonna run my own business.
Yeah.
And it's hard because basically you can't see people face to face. But what I also noticed that is, again, like what you say, you choose what you focused. And I find that's trillion gillions opportunity actually bring in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can interact with people all the way from Singapore, India, Spain,
Yes.
and yeah, so but I do find sometimes it's hard, but yet we have to keep remind ourselves and don't forget, what do we want? Sometimes it's okay, like what you just said, change the strategy, come back in here,
Yeah.
look at it
Yeah.
again. Yes,
Yeah.
it's very, very well said. And tell us one of the learning and takeaway, the biggest one, from your experience, like from that car accident and the rehab journey.
Well, it boils down to what I now use as one of my sayings. Like I put it in my book, and which is, we have the choice and the power to begin again at any time and authentically redesign and recreate our life and our future. Anytime. That's what evolving is. That's what growing is. We have that choice always.
Yeah.
And that was a massive learning for me. And now it's at the core of what I do. And the reason my business is called Tragic Opportunities is because basically I created a tragic opportunities process because of what I went through. So the tragedy is the trauma, the challenge, the stress, the adversity that we go through. The opportunity is how we choose to use that experience and to learn from that experience, and how we then choose to take that knowledge and apply it to improve ourselves, our life, our relationships with others, and to make informed, powerful decisions to create our best life.
Yeah.
That's what that is. And so they're my key learnings, and always coming back to myself and my mantra. So I have a mantra which I think I'm going to share a little bit later, which we discussed prior. So I'll share that when it's time. So these are the sorts of things. That's my key learning there, because that's the pivot point.
And also add on this as well, sometimes we think we are only one person, but yes, we're not. Like, how we live our life can actually influence others.
Yeah.
No matter who you are, that can be impact your family. I'm sure you're the role model of your children, and yeah, you are. And I'm sure sometimes we just think that we are too small. We who am I? Like, I'm just a person. But no, it's not, because energy is actually, or happiness is contagious. We all know that. If I start crack laughing in the room and people are like, oh, the first 5 seconds, who this weird lady, and suddenly they start laughing, and so the positive energy.
Yeah.
And yeah, so absolutely. And you just mentioned about the mantra, and now I also want to hear, like, You are a very energetic person.
Yes.
Very high frequency, high energy. And what's your secret routine for that?
Ready? Are you ready?
I take pen and paper and start writing.
All right. It's not big. It's a choice. It's a choice. Again, I can choose to be miserable and be a victim, or I can choose to find enjoyment in my life, choosing what I focus on. Now, it's not to say I'm always energetic and happy. Well, who is? No, but for the most part, yeah, I'm high energy, and I can turn that on. I could be having a really tough, struggling day, but when I show up for my clients, I'm gonna step into that energy because it's a choice, because I can. It's a choice. Everything's in fact a choice.
Yeah.
Create some debate sometimes, but it's definitely a choice.
Yeah.
And it's also, it's about creating the space for it as well. So I remind myself of who I am, of my key attributes. So as when I start feeling, because I'm human, we're all going to get moments.
We all gonna.
Yeah. I see my mantra. It is stuck on my mirror. I see it every single day. It is imprinted now. I made sure I see it. I used to write it every day. Because when I have those feelings, it comes up and I go, no, I'm not going to do that. Do you want to know what my mantra is now?
Yes.
It is, I am bold, brave, courageous, strong, and resilient. So when I feel, excuse the expression, crappy, when I feel like I don't want to do something, I am bold. I am brave. I am strong, courageous, resilient. That comes to my mind. You know, is this a decision that someone who's bold, brave, strong, courageous, and resilient would make? If it's not, well, then I better make another decision.
Yeah.
We can train ourselves to do this. I've trained myself to do this.
And also the thing is, the good thing I love about mantra, I also have one just right in front of me, is energetic.
Beautiful.
Recently, I've been feeling a bit tired after all this Christmas and New Year and holiday and Chinese New Year actually coming next week.
Yes,
and then every day I sit here and say, yes, energize me. And I think the mantra I write down, bold, brave, strong, courageous, and resilient. This is your mantra. And one thing is very important, that we actually tap into that feeling. How are you feeling when you're bold?
Yes.
Get on with it.
Yeah, come on. You got this. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've got to, something that I feel is important to share here too, is that I think, and I know you know, even I've had this myself. You know, sometimes you see these incredible stories of people and these incredible stories of courage, and there seems to be a bit of a misconception in that people that are courageous are fearless. And here's something we need to remember. There is no courage without fear. You can't be courageous if you're not scared. What are you being courageous against? You say, oh, they're fearless. I can't do that. No, actually you can. You can, because they're not fearless. No one's fearless.
Yeah.
Courage is acting in the face of fear. If you don't have fear, you're not being courageous. You're just doing something.
Yeah.
I am not afraid to pick up my pen, so I'm going to pick it up. I know that's a really, really simple example, but
do it anyway.
Yeah, it's important to note that, because I think sometimes we tend to think things are unachievable for us because we think that the people doing these incredible things are somehow fearless, and that that's something we can't achieve or attain, because they're fearless. Well, I feel fear. Well, guess what? Everybody feels fear. Courage is doing it in the face of fear. In fact, you can, again, like I said before, channel fear. It's a strong emotion. Use that energy, use it to look forward and to focus on what you do want and what you can do. Don't retreat in it. That's how you tap into your courage.
Yes, it is. I really love that. Like, if you guys don't know, every time when I talk to Deborah, I feel like I have a lot of download. And and I really, just by having this conversation, is learn a lot, and it's always remind me, and I hope all of you can find value in today's podcast as well, is first of all, don't fear to be fear. And don't think there's something wrong that because you fear of something. It's normal. And this is part of, sometimes I explain to my client is, you feel fear is normal, because it's how our brain set and help you to find the fear, because they try to remind you. And then you have to be prepared, and you have to know what you need to do for that. Yeah. What can you do to break the fear? Take one step each day. Yeah. And thank you. I saw that 3 books behind you, and of course, Beyond Trauma is the one that you're in, and
that's my book. So Beyond Trauma, Turn Tragedy into Opportunity is my book, which is there's my stories in there, but mostly it's the strategies, tools, and techniques I've used around beliefs. I've got my revival plan formula in there, and my tragic opportunities process, and I also have expert specialist interviews in there as well. Would you believe I tracked down, it was like many years later, I tracked down my neurosurgeon, and he wrote and I interviewed him in my book, and he also wrote the foreword for my book.
Oh, wow.
It was amazing. It was such an incredible experience to see him again. It was amazing. So so that's my book, and then I'm very privileged to contribute to 2 books of inspirational stories, which are on either side of my book there. So the Inspiration Bible and Our Infinite Power to Heal. Yeah.
And if I want to get your book, where can I buy it? Because I do.
So directly from my website, which is tragicopportunities.com. Got tongue tied for a minute there. tragicopportunities.com. And of course, you can email me directly, info@tragicopportunities.com. And there is a Kindle version as well on Amazon as well. So that's available too, if that's a preference. But of course, directly that way. And organize it.
Awesome. And I also will put down, if anyone want to connect with Deborah, I will also put down her social media handles below. If you're listening from YouTube, definitely will be in the description. And yes, so again, thank you so much tuning in today from Melbourne, which is actually, I think, about 30 minutes from my offices to your place. So so I'm also in Melbourne. And thank you so much for coming here today and share your journey with us.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute privilege.
So to the audience, to all of you, I want to challenge you. What's that one choice you're going to make and allow yourself to be the best version of you? Or just start with the small, what that one little choice you're gonna make today? And we would love to know. So if you want to find me, send me an email or either comment below and let us know. And thank you so much. If you or anyone you know have an empowering story that can share and benefit the collective, please contact me through choice@Zaki-Leung.com. And remember, you always have a choice. Thank you.